Ever felt like every time you're saying yes to someone, you're actually saying no to yourself? Today we are tackling one of the hardest things for a lot of us, saying no without feeling guilty. Whether you're an introvert or an ambivert slash people pleaser like me, or just someone who struggles to set boundaries, this video is for you. Trust me, I've been there, feeling torn between wanting to help others and needing time for yourself. In today's video, I'm going to teach you all how to set boundaries, decline requests, and still be at peace with your choices. So if you're ready to say no guilt-free, stick around because this video might be the perfect way to find more balance in your life. Today's video is going to be divided into 3 parts. Part 1, why saying no is hard. Part 2, strategies for saying no politely. And final, part 3, handling pushbacks or guilt. Let's start with part 1, why saying no is hard. For the longest time, I said yes to every single favor, every single work task, and every single invitation. I used to always think, okay, you know what, if I tell them no, they might think I'm rude, they might not invite me again. And I think that also comes from my nature of being a people pleaser, So all these things used to go in my mind and I used to be like, you know what, I'll just show up, I'll not disappoint them. And that's when I realized that every time I said yes to them, the more exhausted I got. I mean, I feel there's a lot of pressure, especially in our social life and work life to be agreeable, especially for introverts or ambiverts slash people pleasers like me. We always feel like, saying no or setting boundary means letting someone down. And we don't want to do that, we don't want to hurt people. But what I realized, saying no does not mean that you're disrespecting others. Saying no means you're respecting your own limits, and that is important. Now let's move on to part 2, strategies for saying no politely. The first strategy is using the sandwich technique. So sandwich technique is basically sandwiching your no between 2 positive statements. For example, at your workplace, if somebody is asking you to work overtime, you can say, I appreciate you considering me for this project, but unfortunately I have some other commitments, so I won't be able to do it. But let me know if I can help you with anything else some other time. In this way, your no does not feel dismissive. Strategy 2 is the delayed response. In this strategy, you buy yourself some time before saying yes or no. For example, if a person is asking you for a favor, you say the simple, let me think about it and get back to you. In this way, what happens is you take some time before saying yes or no without feeling pressured, and it also sets the tone and gives the impression to the other person that you're not always available on demand. The third strategy is saying no without over explaining. Sometimes what happens is that we say no and we feel so guilty about it that we tend to over explain ourselves, and that leads to further guilt. So we should always say no and keep the message short and simple. Like, for example, hey, thank you so much for inviting me, unfortunately I won't be able to make it, see you again. Or at workplace it could be something like, thank you so much for considering me for that, but I won't be able to take that up right now, thank you. Short, simple and sweet, that's it. Because the more you explain, the more guilty you will feel. And sometimes if the person opposite to you is manipulative, he will try to make you feel guilty, further guilty for that, so you don't want that. Part 3 is handling pushback and guilt. First, let's talk about addressing pushback. Sometimes people are so ziddy that they won't take no for an answer, okay? So they will try their best to convince you or manipulate you into saying yes. In this case, you have to understand that you have to reiterate your stance without changing your mind, okay? You have to practice saying, I understand this might be disappointing for you, but my decision is final. That's it. Do not further explain yourself, but just make sure that you're telling them that this is my decision and I'm not going to change my mind. Consistency in such cases is the key. Also, let's talk about dealing with guilt, okay? Now, for someone who has been used to saying yes throughout their life, saying no, shuru mein, you will feel very, very guilty, okay? And that guilt will start creeping in. That's when you have to remind yourself, guys, that self-care isn't selfish, okay? You have to keep telling this to yourself that by setting boundaries, you will get more time, more energy, and more peace of mind. And you should not feel guilty about it. You should always remember that people who respect you will also respect your boundaries. And if they don't, cut them off. Also, if you have struggled with saying no and setting boundaries, and if there is any situation where you would like to give or take any advice, let me know in the comments. Let's help each other and become more confident in setting boundaries. So my fellow introverts, ambiverts and people pleasers, know that saying no does not make you unkind or selfish. It makes you human and it helps you protect your time and energy. And with this, we reach the end of the video. If you have watched it till here, thank you so much for watching. And if you found this video helpful, you know what to do. Like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. And if you're not following me on Instagram, please do follow me on Instagram. I post a lot of acting skits, relatable content, real talk, psychological facts, etc., etc. And I'm pretty sure you guys are going to enjoy it. So please do follow me there. And yes, until next time, thank you so much. Bye bye.